In the hushed amber of a Leavenworth evening, Samuel Hawkins sat within the cloistered confines of his weathered car. His gaze, sharp as a hawk's, though much wearier, was locked onto a somber building. A mortician's office, an establishment typically shrouded in life's inevitable melancholy, held an additional pallor of unease. It was not just the building's forlorn facade or the dread-inspiring sculptures adorning its entrance, but something else, an intangible shiver, gnawing at the edges of his consciousness. Each time the door to the office creaked open, Samuel scrutinized the figure emerging from within. Men, women, and sometimes children, all draped in the shroud of grief, came and went. But there were others, individuals who moved with the sharpness of the crow, eyes carrying a glint that reflected something more ominous than death. Slowly, he pulled out a crumpled photograph from his pocket. A picture of a lean man, his countenance sullen, his eyes piercingly empty. The back of the photo bore the simple label, Mortician. This man, he knew, was not merely a peddler of last rites. There were secrets behind those cold, guarded eyes, secrets that oozed a stench far deadlier than the mortal remains he tended to. He let his thoughts wander back to the source of his current endeavor. An old friend, Leo, had tipped him about unusual activities surrounding this mortician's office. Leo, an old dog from the force, had grown skeptical of the official channels and knew Samuel's past as a PI could be useful. The conversation echoed in his mind. "Sam, there's more to it than gun trade. I can't put my finger on it, but there's an air of wrongness." Leo had confided over a static-laden phone line, his usually jovial tone laced with grave concern. He was inclined to agree. His intuition, hardened by years of dealing with the grim underbelly of society, whispered of clandestine activities that might not be constrained by the laws of man or nature. As the night wore on, a shudder coursed through his spine, a familiar tremor that he had felt only as a child, lost and afraid in the expansive woods of his hometown. Once just a man seeking purpose through justice, he now stood on the precipice of an abyss he didn't yet understand. He was no stranger to danger, but the lurking shadows of the mortician's office held an unfamiliar quality, a terror that seemed to hum with ancient dread. Yet his resolve remained steadfast. For purpose, he knew, was often discovered in the unlikeliest of places, perhaps even amidst the eerie shadows of Leavenworth. In the unassuming canvas of a new day, Samuel found himself on the threshold of the mortician's office, a place shrouded in more than mere mourning. His presence echoed a subdued disruption in the monotonous daily ebb and flow, like a hawk nesting amongst crows. He stepped in, and the world around him shrunk to a claustrophobic labyrinth of shadows and hushed whispers. The mortician, tall and willowy, seemed almost spectral in the dreary office light. The grim sterility of the room was disrupted only by a singular oddity, an old, worn-out book filled with symbols alien to Samuel's eyes. As he sought an audience under the pretense of handling a distant relative's last rites, his gaze frequently darted to the archaic tome, finding an uncanny allure in its cryptic pages. The conversation, thick with veiled intentions, treaded the line between the mundane and the obscure. Samuel, adopting the persona of a bereaved relative, managed to gently steer the conversation towards the other, less mournful visitors the mortician entertained. "Quite a popular place you have," he mentioned, keeping his tone casual. "I've noticed quite a few guests coming and going at all odd hours." The mortician's gaze, which had thus far been as cold and impassive as a winter moon, flickered with an imperceptible sign of unease. "We serve a wide community," he replied, the words rolling off his tongue with an unsettling smoothness. "Death, as you well know, doesn't operate on a schedule." As the investigation wove itself deeper into the shadowy labyrinth, Samuel's nights began to be punctuated by eerie dreams. Unsettling images of ancient deities, their forms nebulous and writhing, haunted his sleep. Hints of forgotten rituals, accompanied by low, thunderous chanting, echoed from the furthest corners of his subconscious. The lines of reality seemed to warp and blur, causing his childhood terror of being lost to ripple across his waking thoughts. His every interaction with the mortician began to tinge with an undercurrent of dread, a growing confirmation that the office was not merely a front for weapon dealings, but also a threshold to something profoundly inhuman. And the strange book, which lay like an open wound amidst the clinical sterility of the mortician's office, began to appear in his dreams, a beacon calling to something ancient, something primeval. As he struggled to grapple with his unraveling reality, he found a true ally in Leo. Their dialogue, once a chorus of camaraderie and shared past, now took on a heavier note. Over strained phone calls, Leo became his anchor, his tether to the reality he knew. The stakes, they both knew, were escalating, not just towards the tangible menace of weapon dealing, but to a place where mortal comprehension dared not tread. He stood once again before the gloomy silhouette of the mortician's office, now irrevocably aware of the ominous mystery that lay within its mortal coil. His quest for justice had led him into uncharted territories, a path that was slowly beginning to resemble the dread-laden corridors of his nightmares. But he would venture forth. He was a man standing against the tide of a cosmic mystery, the echoes of which resonated from the grim heart of the mortician's office. Amid the hustle of another sleepy Leavenworth day, Samuel found himself knee-deep in the labyrinthine cellars beneath the mortician's office. Dust-coated shelves and crates filled with relics of mortality towered around him. He was here on the pretext of inspecting a casket, yet his eyes were attuned to the unusual, the arcane, the dreadful. In the labyrinthine confines, he found it. A twisted relic, shaped like a spiral galaxy, an ancient artifact tucked away within a nondescript wooden box. It hummed with an ethereal energy, its alien material gleaming with the luminescence of trapped stardust. The symbols etched onto it were cryptic and unnerving, resonating with the same eldritch motif he had seen in the mortician's book. When he held the artifact, a shiver ran up his spine, awakening a cacophony of whispers in his mind. Images of primordial galaxies, celestial beings of incomprehensible size and shape, and dark, labyrinthine corridors flooded his consciousness. The artifact felt cold, yet it seemed to vibrate with life, an ominous pulse that echoed the beat of some distant, cosmic heart. With the discovery of the artifact, Leavenworth morphed into a different entity. The ordinary small-town charm gave way to an eerie sense of dread, a feeling of being observed by unseen entities from the abyss of the cosmos. The mortician's office was no longer just a front for illicit trade. It was a vessel to awaken something ancient and terrifying. As the days bled into nights, his dreams intensified, further blurring the line between reality and the macabre theater of his nightmares. His conversations with Leo began to revolve around the artifact and its uncanny influence, each dialogue spinning further away from the realm of earthly matters. "Sam," Leo's voice crackled over the phone, "you're treading on dangerous ground, my friend. This, whatever it is, it's bigger than the both of us." Samuel's response was simple, yet laden with determination. "Then we tread together, Leo." Their bond, once a tapestry of shared laughs and solace, now reflected a shared burden, a testament to the brewing cosmic storm. Leo became more than a voice on the other end of a phone line. He was a confidant in the face of the unfathomable, a beacon in the inscrutable depths that Samuel was being drawn into. The Leavenworth he had known had begun to mirror the twisted labyrinth of his nightmares, the echoes of its idyllic charm now swallowed by the hum of the eldritch artifact. And as he stood, staring into the abyss, he knew that his journey was only beginning to pierce the surface of the inscrutable depths. As the world of Leavenworth slumbered under the blanket of the night, Samuel found himself drawn into the dance of the cosmic shadows. With each passing day, his dreams grew more vivid, morphing into a terrifying theater of cosmic horror. Great nebulous entities writhed within the canvas of his nightmares, their formless whispers crawling into the crevices of his waking thoughts. The mortician, previously just a spectral figure in his investigation, began to take on a new role. It was during one of their strained, labyrinthine dialogues that the he hinted at the true purpose of the artifact. "There are forces," he had murmured, a gleam of something ancient flickering in his eyes, "that are beyond our mortal coil. Forces that demand reverence." It was a veiled confession of a grand design, a ritual that stretched beyond mere mortal understanding, one that was poised to awaken a slumbering cosmic deity. The mystery Samuel was entwined with was no longer confined to the dark corners of a mortician's office. It was a cosmic waltz, a dance that threatened to engulf not just him, but all of Leavenworth. His conversations with Leo, fraught with an urgency they had never known, now took on a tone of desperation. Their dialogue was no longer just an exchange of theories and cryptic clues, but a lifeline that kept him tethered to reality. "Leo," Samuel's voice held a tremble it never had before. "The Mortician. He's a servant. There's something bigger at play here." Leo's voice, usually a bastion of calm, betrayed a tremor. "Sam, we're out of our depth here. This is bigger than any case we've ever handled." Yet in the face of this existential terror, Samuel found his humanity shining through. His interactions with the people of Leavenworth, once merely professional exchanges, now echoed with a determination to protect. As the cosmic dance quickened its pace, he became the town's silent guardian, a beacon of hope against the encroaching darkness. In the gloaming of another evening, he found himself back in the depths of the Mortician's cellar, the artifact pulsating with an eerie rhythm. His reflection on its surface was distorted, warped by the cosmic secrets it held within. He was no longer the man he was. He was a dancer in the cosmic ballet, twirling on the precipice of sanity in the abyss. In the deathly stillness of a Leavenworth night, the labyrinth stood unveiled before Samuel. The dance had reached its climax, the cosmic melody humming within the very air, echoing in the marrow of his bones. It was in the chilling embrace of the Mortician's cellar that he found himself face to face with the Mortician. The room, previously a mausoleum of the forgotten and the departed, now resonated with the hum of the artifact. The once mundane Mortician was now a figure of dread, the shadows clinging to him as he moved, twisting his form into something not entirely human. A confrontation was inevitable. As they stood, each man caught in the other's gaze, a dialogue ensued, a tense symphony of spoken and unspoken words. "Your dance ends tonight, Mortician." Samuel's voice echoed with a finality that even the pulsating artifact could not drown. The Mortician's response, layered with an ancient coldness, slithered through the air. "You cannot stop what has been set into motion, Mr. Hawkins." Yet Samuel found his resolve hardening, a beacon of light piercing through the cosmic darkness. His fear, his confusion, all of it was channeled into a single-minded purpose. The purpose that had initially guided him to Leavenworth now stood magnified, a beacon of humanity against the looming cosmic terror. With Leo on the other end of a frantic phone call, Samuel fought the rising tide of dread. The confrontation with the Mortician, once a dance around veiled threats and insinuations, became a struggle against the awakened cosmic forces. In that moment, he was no longer just a man. He was the embodiment of human resilience, the embodiment of every laugh shared with Leo, every memory of the people of Leavenworth he had come to cherish. He was the echo of his childhood trauma and the echo of his journey to find purpose. And he found it. Not in a quiet existence as he had initially sought, but in standing against the cosmic shadows for those who could not. In a heart-stopping climax, he managed to disrupt the ritual, his actions sending ripples through the cosmic melody. The artifact fell silent, the pulsating rhythm dying down to a quiet hum. The Mortician, robbed of his ancient power, stood as a mere man, the shadows peeling away from him. In the aftermath of the ritual's disruption, Samuel emerged, not victorious, but surviving. Leavenworth, the once quiet town, returned to its peaceful slumber, oblivious of the cosmic terror that had almost awakened within its heart. As the dawn seeped into the edges of the night, Samuel sat amidst the quiet of his weathered car, his eyes reflecting the calmness of a battle survived. His journey had led him down a path of cosmic dread, and he had emerged, shaken but unbowed. The purpose he had sought was realized in the heart of the cosmic labyrinth. He was the man who danced with cosmic shadows and lived to tell the tale. As he drove away from the Mortician's office, the echoes of the cosmic ballet fading away, He carried with him the knowledge of the unseen labyrinth, a testament to his journey into the heart of cosmic terror. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like it and subscribe to our channel, where you can find more similar stories, and click on the bell icon to never miss one. There is plenty more cosmic horror to come from the Eldritch Tales Factory. Stay tuned, and until next time.